You return again, Guardian. And so does another egg from my clutch. It seems Mara's Harbinger has succeeded in pulling it close enough for you to catch. How convenient. Though it would have been far more convenient for them not to have been scattered at all. I have never taken Mara at her word. But she is not a fool. Had she been the one to set my eggs adrift, then she would have devised an easier way to retrieve them. One that requires less risk. But if Mara was not the one responsible, then who was? And what did they stand to gain from it? Manipulating the ley lines like this reeks of paracausal magic. An Ahamkara's doing. Someone wished for this. And when I find out who it was, then I will feast.
We have a problem. I was prepping our entry point and Sol Divisive started pouring into the confluence. I managed to slip out into the Overcity undetected, but just barely.
How did they get ahead of us? Of the Techians?
I don't know, but we need to move on this.
Well, I suppose no plan survives contact with the enemy. Guardian, make sure whatever the Vex are planning doesn't survive contact with you.
My brood is in peril! Sneak thieves, ransack my lair! Roar my fury through your fangs! Consume them all!
She is worked up. I'll guard the confluence from the surface, make sure nothing tries to ambush you. Osiris, I've been thinking about why the Vex would hit this spot.
And?
The Arboretum's where the confluence intersects with the Dreaming City's ley lines. They could be trying to establish a connection.
Or perhaps excise the confluence from the city altogether. Thereby removing our ability to appease Riven.
That sounds like a Vex plan to me.
One we cannot abide.
I remember the Sol Divisive doing all sorts of weird things in the Black Garden. In the deepest parts, they were experimenting with paracausal forces, adjusting their code to more closely reflect the way they perceive the darkness.
But to no avail to my recollection. Perhaps this is the end of those experiments. Perhaps it is something new.
The Soul Divisive aren't getting along with the Taken.
Many Taken here have run themselves rabid, searching for purpose. The Vex must be trying to contain that behavior. Let it loose upon them. You'll need Soul Divisive signatures to pick those locks.
Think with their heads, Guardian.
Oracles. Outside the Vault of Glass. I did not think it possible.
Are you seeing those readings too?
Resonance. If they are tapping into the Darkness's memory, it may enhance their predictive capabilities.
Looks like the Witness might have taught the Soul Divisive some new tricks.
Or the Soul Divisive sought to align their collective more closely with that which they worship.
Either way, I guess now we know how they got ahead of us.
There! You have them flat-footed. Strike before they seize the egg. A detainment matrix.
Shatter it!
Transmat signal scrambled. You're going to have to fight your way out, Guardian.
wrap hungry jaws around my young.
Maybe we'd have gotten here sooner if you'd stopped playing games with us.
I'm long finished playing with you, fallen prince.
Enough. There is nowhere they can run that the Guardian cannot deliver your retribution.
Wish it true. Ask me to rewrite this failure, and I will make it so.
You really can't help yourself.
We have a lead. In the darkness connection we detected in the oracles. Start there, find the trail. Your egg isn't lost yet.
Hey, Guardian. The Vex may have snuck in ahead of us, but we're not out of the race yet. Osiris thinks that a Vex mind must have figured out how to simulate the Techeuns. So long as they have access to those algorithms, the Vex can track the eggs, same as we can. So, we'll just have to steal them back. I managed to pick up the trail. Looks like the Soul Divisive tucked the egg away in the Black Garden. Lucky for us, that's familiar territory. I remember how to get in. All we need is the head of a Vex Gate Lord. Kidding. Turns out Riven had her own path into the garden. You'll have to get in there and put that Vex mind out of commission. I'll be on comms, keeping an eye on the tracking signal. And watching your back, of course.
Riven, you never mentioned you had a personal route to the Black Garden.
And I never would have. But these are desperate times.
The Last City and the Awoken have history here. What's your connection to it?
Currently, it's an inconvenience. My child is lost in this ontology, and our enemies are hunting.
Eyes up, Guardian. I've heard whispers like this before. Riven was playing me into a grave.
Those whispers aren't mine. Guardian, the barrier ahead will not yield. But I've left latent sparks of paracausality you can harness. Break through.
So you have been here before. Riven. What is this place?
An Ahamkara lair.
Hidden in the Black Garden? Is it yours?
You've seen mine.
That whispering again.
I assure you, that's not my voice.
It's getting louder.
You'll find the way is locked, but paracausal energy is your key.
These sparks seem different.
Because they're not mine. You'll find the way is locked, but paracausal energy is your key.
These sparks seem different.
Because they're not mine.
What aren't you telling us, Riven? The Vex couldn't have created all this. They can't simulate paracausality.
You truly wish to know?
Watch yourself, Guardian.
The way forward lies in solving the paracausality of this place.
What did you protect here?
Many things. But whoever scattered the clutch is using this lair against me. The Queen couldn't have done this. Though an Ahamkara could have. That mind is protected with Ahamkara bioenergetics. Combine the paracausal energies and gut that Vex.
The voices are asking to use me as a vessel.
That's Taranis.
Who?
Let him speak. Please.
I'll try anything twice. Let's hear you, whoever you are.
Riven, how I've missed you.
Taranis, what have you done?
I've made my last wish.
Your wish, you utter fool.
It's been fulfilled. Thanks to you and the Wishkeeper, I can rest.
If there were anything left of you, I'd flay it from your bones.
It was good to dance with you, oh beloved mine. One last time.
Who was he, Riven?
Taranis was my mate. I was not always a prisoner in the Dreaming City. The Ahamkara were once free to roam its halls. That's where I met Taranis. And Taranis, unlike others, unlike me, cherished those who wished to him. Those who bargained with him were safe. must have caused him. I found his restraint intriguing. And my art, my dreaming halls, my dance with the Queen moved Taranis in turn. Together, we became the ebb and flow of the tide. Through him, I glimpsed a world without the tireless cycle of bargaining and feeding, of peace. Taranis invited me to his lair, a place where we couldn't be found, in the ontology of the Black Garden. My joy of turning desire to woe faded for one rapturous moment. We made successes together. We built secrets together. And then came your great hunt of the Ahamkara. The Queen took my freedom under guise of protection. Taranis and I were forever separated. But we could still whisper to one another in the space between. At least until a king arrived and made a bargain I could not refuse. I became both king and dragon. I spoke with his voice, and Taranis knew it. So he did the one thing our kind must never do. Grant his own wish at the cost of his existence. A wish to keep the eggs out of harm's reach until someone could protect them. Someone like you. His wish keeper. Taranis was always a sentimental fool. His last wish has caused us no small amount of trouble. All wishes come at a cost, even those we Ahamkara grant ourselves. Especially those we grant ourselves. My kind feeds on the difference between what is desired and what comes to pass. That is why we grant wishes the way we do. In granting our own wish, we eliminate that difference. We smother the flame, and our voices fall silent. Our existence ends. Ahamkara are selfish creatures, not prone to such acts of sacrifice. But Taranis, he was different. His sacrifice might save us all. You destroyed the Vex mine simulating the Techion's work. The Vex will not reach the eggs first again. But they still hold my lair. Put Taranis' gift to good use, O guardian mine. It is your turn to grant a last wish.
I don't know. I haven't spoken to Jolyon since Glint raised me.
You used to be inseparable. It's not just anyone who would follow you into the Black Garden.
I thought you'd want me to keep my distance.
Queen Mara wanted to protect you from Uldren's memories. I think we're past that.
Yeah, probably.
You should reach out. Jolyon is a good man.
I'm a different person. That probably goes for Jolyon, too.
The last time he saw me...
Let him make that decision. You were close. Chances are you could be again.
I'll think about it. You know, you still give good advice, Petra.
Yeah, well, I never take it.
Something is wrong. Its stench lingers in the air, wafting up from the shadows of the confluence. I remember this sensation. The creeping whispers. Putrid oil on water. Taken corruption seeps into my lair, as it once did into me. Morris Techians expect another egg will enter our reality soon. Cut the strings of those Taken puppets as you traverse the confluence. As I said before, Oryx's bargain with me has expired. I owe him nothing. The same holds true for the Witness. If it seeks to take something from me without reaching an accord, then I will reclaim what is mine with vengeance in my heart. Make haste. Reach my offspring before the Taken. Taranis' sacrifice must not have been made in vain.
Guardian, we have reason to believe the next egg could be in danger. Taken corruption has infected the confluence.
It's being drawn in through a breach between Eleusinia and the Dreaming City. I feel it. This is not a disorganized swarm. It is a concerted attack.
Maybe they've rallied around a field leader. One the Guardian can target to scatter them to the winds.
Find them, my Wrath, and see it done.
Vermin in my lair. Their wants echo on the walls. They wish to corrupt my kin. They do not heed my will or know me. I cannot restrain their hunger.
You never did. I kept them in check.
I can feel your desire, Petrovenge, wrath of the Queen. You walk these sullied halls and see your stagnant years of toil. It is like a game, isn't it? One you simply must continue testing. Why not let me help you? I can free us.
I'd rather fight another 1,000 cycles than watch you starve.
So prickly, Petra. You awoken never trust my good intentions. Pity.
They've blighted the air itself.
Your queen is correct. Corruption bleeds into this city from her throne. A poisoned rain built on the edge of a venomed knife. Why risk slipping? You wish the Dreaming City safe? To walk your realm again? Scrawl it on your wall if you must. And let me make it real.
You cannot tempt us with shadows.
I would tempt you with anything to protect my whims.
These braziers stabilize the pathways of the confluence, much like ascendant beacons in the ley lines. They'll need to be relit, and the Taken hold their fuel.
You've helped me. My species will live on because of you. Why not forgive like you have the prince? We can help each other more.
Every Corsair I've watched die, knowing it was coming. Your help would be a mockery of their sacrifice.
We both want our kind to be free. Simply say it.
Silence! Each of your 1,000 tongues be still. Gratitude is all we wish to hear from Riven this day.
My thanks. You have. There it is, the beast that hunts my young. Erase this intruder from my lair.
So, the Taken do have a field commander. Harness their power against them. Shatter its shield.
A knight bearing Xivu Arath's mark. She must still hold sway over the Taken.
But not all of them. Whatever the Guardians did to her, her power must be waning.
My egg. What has become of my wing?
It's polluted by the Taken's corruption, but intact.
You recover one of my brood, only to let another suffer for your cause! And for this, you demand gratitude!
Contain yourself. We have the egg. Petra, Guardian, return with it, and I will see if its corruption can be reversed. I have no love for Riven, and no complete trust of an Ahamkara's predatory nature. But we need that final wish fulfilled. A bargain with Riven cannot be altered, perhaps not even by her. And we owe her all of the clutch. Guardians have freed Techeuns from Taken influence before. The effort and circumstances were extraordinary, but perhaps it can be done again. In our war with the Taken in the Dreaming Halls, we found that Taken ontology, when faced with itself, feeds on itself. Following that principle, you should be able to find a coalescence of Taken essentia in the Ascendant realm. Theoretically, we could use it to cleanse the egg. That's all the strategy I can offer you, I'm afraid. Your tenacity in this is appreciated. And appropriate. If we fail here, Riven loses an egg. but we lose our path to the Witness. And all roads thereafter.
You have it? Yes. I can sense the recurrent hunger collapsing in on itself. If left alone, do you think a corrupted egg would produce a whim like Riven? Would it retain control of itself? Or would it be a beast whose hunger could never be satiated? And is there any difference between the two? Petra is waiting. Meet her, and let us placate the dragon in our midst.
Shuro Chi and the others have made good use of the taken essentia you obtained. The spell to cleanse the egg has been prepared, but it requires paracausal fuel to ignite. Riven could provide us with the spark herself, but we can't trust her not to take advantage. In her current state, she might be unable to, even if she won't admit it. I'd take it myself, but I've hurled expletives at its mother and made too many wishes out loud during this operation. For all we know, that's how the Great Hunt was begun. Instead, you could allow the egg to feed on your desire, as a catalyst to jumpstart the spell. It should be perfectly safe. This Ahamkara is not yet born. You're not making a true bargain. And we have no other choices. Head to Riven's lair and focus on what you crave of the outcome. Let's hope we don't end up with another curse.
Welcome, O Warden's mine.
The Taken haunt these halls once again. This is a fortuitous intersection of events for us. With what you recovered, and my incantations, we are ready. Press forward. Keep in your mind the desire to cleanse the corruption. The tiny whim in that egg won't be able to resist your paracausal desire. They will make it reality, and in turn draw the poison out to be fused with the essentia you carry. It's working. Now all that remains is to stay the course and break this Taken advance. Your final foe awaits. This Taken incursion has been halted, and you've reaped all that was needed to drain their poison from Riven's egg. Now, she cannot deny us any longer. Let us return Riven's whim to its new nest. I am eager to hear if the Techeuns are close to our next alignment.
I have ascertained the path the witness took, but the Veil alone cannot safely reconstruct it.
What stops you?
Instability. The Veil traces the shape of our consciousness, but that shifts as fluidly as our thoughts do. It is as though we alter the path by observing it. None would survive the crossing.
I can grant passage. Savathun's wish can weave the ley lines into the veil, entangle them for a moment. But you will not send an army on the wings of a wish. Only one.
One? Explain this deception.
You've done me a great many services, O Warden's Mine. I'll grant you the ultimate Ahamkara courtesy. The complete truth. Savathun's wish grants one singular passage. No more.
You knew from the beginning. You sought to twist our aspirations, as your kind always does.
How many of my clutch would you have saved had you been privy to the limitations of our arrangement?
Play your part, lest I shape you into a trinket of caged hunger to be forgotten in the Guardian's vault.
I am your helpless prisoner. What other part would you wish I play? I cannot change Savathun's intent.
Then what use are you to me?
Mara, one. Maybe all we need.
I am being transparent. Kind, even. It could always be worse. As you know.
This is our only way to pursue the witness.
one to send.
Curious. This simplifies things. What if... Yes. Guardian, excuse me, I believe I'm onto something. One to send, she said. I believe the witness had found a point of weakness and exploited that point to pierce the traveler's defenses. But the witness did not gain entrance through an attack. It parried. There was no need to breach a door because through the traveler's resistance, the way was left open. Its blast was meant to expel, but the witness redirected the flow of that intent with its own, using the veil. If Riven can imprint the ley lines into the veil, send one of our own to the other side without invitation, we can open the door. Once open, Guardian, the path to it matters not. Only that we're now able to cross the threshold. The veil will flow to that point around any obstacle. I told you I was onto something. It sounds simple in retrospect to use the ley lines as means of travel, as we have before. But they do not touch the traveler, nor the veil, and not even Mara can command them to do so. It may seem as though Riven promises more than is possible, but that is the foundation of a wish. We must yield to our disbelief and give ourselves over to chance. In that unknown venture, in discovery, the path forward is revealed. One egg remains. Then all our integument risks, our layered depths to this cause, finally, their worth will be realized.
Thanks to Mara's efforts, the egg was cleansed of its corruption and saved. The irony is not lost on me. I suppose I should thank her, though she may not be receptive to my gratitude at the moment. Mara will soon recognize that it was a gift for me to divulge what I did now, rather than when the wish is made. Perhaps she already has. Even an Ahamkara's power has its limits. It is beyond my ability to alter the path that the witness opened. Savathun knew this, which is why she crafted her wish to make use of the ley lines instead. Always so clever, that one. And the witness. Its ambition knows no equal. This final shape that it seeks is not unlike a wish itself. One that would forever erase the difference between desire and reality. Anathema to my kind. I will not have my progeny suffer such an existence. Continue securing my lair and gathering my clutch. Mara was right about one thing. Like with the portal, I cannot alter the terms of our bargain. Collect all of the eggs, or the wish cannot be granted, even if I desire it.
What were you hoping to achieve by threatening Riven? Had I not been there to stop you?
Osiris, I admit I was angry. I'm seldom able to express my emotions openly. But I had no intention of harming Riven. I only wanted her to believe I might.
Perhaps you could warn me first. I was worried you lost sight of our goal.
Have I ever been one to miss the forest for the trees?
Quite the opposite. While I tend to find myself mired in the details of the leaves.
Both sorts are necessary. Your eyes on the fight before us, and mine on the horizon.
How do you see the end so clearly? Even within the infinite forest, I could not predict as you do.
Clairvoyance is a charade. The ground shifts beneath us as we walk. We manage best when we make our own stepping stones. You know better than most how many times we've had to adjust our methods to achieve victory. My death at Saturn to pierce Oryx's defenses.
Countless recalculations against the Vex. Stealing Savathun's secrets from within.
The planting of the silver tree on Io.
I took some convincing on that. But it truly was the beginning.
Sagira's death, Crow's choices, your new perspective, none of these were part of the plan.
Each adjustment came at a cost. I wonder what costs the Witness has yet to extract from us.
Whatever they are, we will meet them. And persevere.